What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol FAMI for Farmmi Inc. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. Now, first things first, because we have not yet covered this one together on the channel, let's just give ourselves a quick daily roadmap of just obvious areas of support and resistance. Then we'll talk more nuance when we drill down to the 30-minute intraday time frame. Obviously, we're trading very far away from this right now, but that brings me to my next point, is this large overhead gap. Right? So at some point during early September, obviously there was a big gap up and it ran a bit, and then there was, follow through with a massive gap down and sort of more of this rollover here. What else are we seeing as support underneath? Well, certainly this has kind of acted as the floor, if you will, down around 0.2091. So let's take a look at the 30-minute here, see how this is essentially unfolding and what we can do about it, right? So the first thing to note is that this is kind of a rounding bottom here, which is a good thing, right? It's showing a lack of selling momentum as we come into a place, that place notably being here, where there's some decent two-sided trade, right? You get a little bit of back and forth instead of just domination from the selling. So for me, the area of must-hold support, otherwise this is likely going lower, is going to be at around 21 cents. If it breaks, I would look for lower here inside of FAMI, not even really interested in this sort of breakdown low here before that turn higher did happen. So what else can we do about this, right? What if you're looking for a long entry here and you want to trade this higher? Well, I would argue the first thing to really pay attention to was today's session and where these pivotal areas are. So the first one is just basically at a quarter, right? I don't want to get too nuanced looking at 0.2493, so on and so forth. I really just want to pay attention to the quarter mark because it's a very psychological area. It's very easy to type in that order into any sort of broker. So watch out for a quarter, right? If it's retested, expect it to act as resistance where people might try to get out at maybe break even or a smaller loss if they got long from anywhere in here and were faked out in that first upper 30-minute upper wick. There we go. Getting some words confused. Anyways, so 25 cents needs to be on your radar. To the downside, it's simply here, right? Today's low. Basically, what we're looking at is it pulled back into this prior area of contention. Right about here, we had resistance, then support, and it's supported on today's session at 0.2264. Again, for brevity's sake, I would probably just pay attention to let's just call it 0.225. So that number right there. So that would be my downside area. I would not play around with this in between here. I'd wait for the break either up and over 25 or avoid this if it starts taking out the low end of the balance range. Again, so any consolidation in here is fine, but you're probably not getting involved there. You're waiting for the break to see if we can make it up and over 25 cents and avoiding at all costs underneath that 0.225, again, for brevity's sake, noting that it's very likely going to trickle back down and do something like this into the area where there is two-sided trade. Remember, that's right down here. I wouldn't even bother fishing for longs at that area either. Just doesn't look like something that I personally would want to be involved in, so I could never recommend to anyone that they would get involved in something that I personally I just can't see it, right? I can't see it here inside of FAMI. So those are my only thoughts to sort of give here. Obviously, if we move up and over today's high, up and over that 25 cent mark, it does unlock the door to the bottom end of the gap, right? And that number is at the point, let's just call it 0.3, right? Just for brevity's sake, once again, here on something trading definitely sub 50 cents. That brings me to my last point, which is just because this is cheap, please do not go out and just buy a ton of it. Again, when you're talking about something sub 50 cents, large percentage moves are going to happen as we get sort of back and forth that occurs on the intraday. And unless you're prepared for that, aka positioned correctly, then it's likely going to hurt if it doesn't go in your direction. So please, just because it's cheap, don't go out and buy a ton of it. That's it here on Family. If you did enjoy the video or learned anything new, let me know down below in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description. And all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.